Hello, welcome to part three of the Fate of Cthulhu 2.0 Roll20 review. The first one we went into the marketplace items, the second time we talked about creating a game, and this one we're actually going to go into the app itself and show you how the base module and one of the add-on timelines work together and how you access everything when you're actually playing the game. So let's take a look at Roll20. All right, in the last one, we created a game together. I clicked launch game and it pulled up this base sheet. Now this is the quick start for players and GMs. It's got a background that you can use. You can delete all these tokens and just use that cool background of the cover. It's got some instructions and directions here. It's got a bunch of tokens of the pre-generated characters. So all of those are available for you to use, copy, paste, change, rename, do anything you like with. This is just very much to get you started. You can also see we've got the deck of fate points here. If you want to use those to actually give out to players as you're doing it, you can drag those into players' hands. All kinds of tools right here on the front page. The next page, if you look at it, is called the GM tools. This is got a bunch more tokens. These were tokens we thought would be useful in several or many or possibly all of the timeline. So these are not specific to any particular timeline. We just wanted to give you some extra token art to use because we love it. The art is beautiful. There's also a bunch of instructions about how to use the module itself. So lots of good info right here in the GM tools where you'd expect it. Then we have a playmat. This playmat includes the four pre-gen characters that we sort of default to, but if you scroll down, you can see we have all the other pre-gens in here as well. So there's plenty of pre-generated characters. A blank arrival timeline, maps and zones section, some clocks, mission notes. Sort of, if you want to have one page that's got your entire game kind of all in one place, this is it. You can fill it all in, and you'll have all the details you need. Everyone's aspects, their stunts, what is known and unknown about the arrival of a great one or an old one. Everything's here. The next page we have are a bunch of backgrounds. These are backgrounds for you to sort of drop the players into and give either a map or a background or ambiance for the scene. So you come to a bunch of cultists worshiping as a portal is opening and something from another world is coming through, and as you see this over on the right, one of these cultists was not so fortunate. And they're paying an even higher price to summon this thing forward. So that's one background. But if you want to switch it, there are tons of them here. So first thing I'll note is that on the objects and tokens layer, that's the layer where you would drag images around. That's where all these instructions are. So these instructions are sort of here for you to get you familiar with it. But as soon as you're done with them, you can just delete these. These are not part of the actual play experience. This is tools for you as the GM creating it. When you want to use this, however, you'll go into the map and background layer, and then right-click anywhere on the image and choose multi-sided, and then choose side. And you'll get this little pick list, which is so tiny you can barely see it. But if you expand it, you get a little bigger image, and you can see what it is, and you can see there's all of these different backgrounds. And if you choose one of these backgrounds, this can be a recovery scene, where everyone is healing up after a horrific adventure that looks like some burns happened here, possibly. You can switch around between any of these scenes, and again, I'm going to expand this so I can actually see what I'm doing. This could be the break-in scene where they're trying to get the secret information out of the safe. All kinds of cool backgrounds. These are ones that are not specific to any timeline again. We'll get to those in a second. And the cool thing is that when the map and background layer changes, the foreground does not. So any tokens that you've put on here, let's say just using these fate points as some examples, these stay there even when you change. So I go into the map layer, I change this to another background, and you can see I still have those tokens there right where I left them. So, oh my goodness, this is grotesque. Let's move on to the next page. Here we go. Here's a blank timeline. This is a dark mode. We had dark mode in our timelines before even Roll20 did, but now you can see Roll20 has enabled dark mode as well, and if you combine them, it's like dark on dark mode. It's pretty cool. We have done some testing with the new Roll20 dark mode, and so far, most of the stuff looks really good, so check that out too. But we have a dark mode version of the timeline, the blank timeline, and we have a light mode version. And you'll notice that there's all this stuff on top, all these sort of directions on top. These are all sitting in the, let me make sure, I think I'm correct. These are all sitting in the GM layer. So one, they're not visible to any players, and two, you can change the opacity on them to fully opaque, to completely invisible, as you like. And again, you're the only one who will see them. So these are just instructions on how to use this page. You can also go into the GM layer if you wanted to delete them once you're done with them. They're just here to help you out. So that's the basics of the pages in the base module, but there's more. There's also a bunch of handouts over here, a bunch of character sheets and handouts. So if you look over here in the Fate of Cthulhu base module on the right-hand side, in the Journal tab, you'll see all of these pre-gen characters. There's tons of PCs in here that you can use, and they're all fully statted out. So if we look at Samira Washington, we've got her image, we've got her description, we've got her full character sheet. And again, looks pretty good in dark mode. Holds up nicely. We've got the corruption clock. Boop, boop, boop. We've got her stress, we've got her consequences, we've got her notes, we've got her stunts, everything, her fate points, everything is in here. And you can even tell which corruption stunt she has, so you know how far she has gone, how corrupted she has become. And that's the same with all the other characters in here. Then there's also a bunch of GN characters. These are characters we thought would be useful in any timeline. So there's a bunch of GM characters. You'll notice that the PCs have this little blue dot next to them, and the GM characters do not. That's because they're not visible to players unless you choose to make them. So for instance, if you want to show the corrupted to a player, you can click on show to players, and it'll say, are you sure? Do you want to show this to everybody? And if you do, boop, you say show to everyone. Now, not only will it pop up on their screen, but in the future, they'll be able to access it as well, because it's got the little blue dot, meaning everyone can see it. And then there's also a sort of README handout that goes over all the basics, like what's in here, what's involved. Hopefully I'm covering most of this, but there's more details in here, including macros, rollable tables, all that jazz. So that's what you would get inside the base module. And if you come back in part 4, I'll show you what one of the actual timelines look like, which we have here. I've loaded it, but I just want to separate them out so these videos are a little shorter, and you can see what it looks like when we add a timeline to this, and all the new options are included. See you there.